Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of
Rating Arizona.
Beers, brought to you by King's Beer and Wine, located in Central and Thomas,
In Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix.
Beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah, if you're a beer nerd, beer lover, craft beer connoisseur, get your way down over to King's. I mean, it is the spot to be, definitely.
It's amazing. And they also have, I feel like I always forget to talk about this. They have wine. They've got a lot of, Mark, the owner, comes from the wine world. So he knows his shit.
And wine and distilling, too.
Yeah. They don't distill here.
No.
But maybe Mark, when we start a distillery, King's Beer and Distilling.
Yeah, so wine, mead, ciders. So,
Yep.
I mean, they kind of run that gambit and do it well, extremely well. Dare I say the best in Arizona as far as a bottle shop and taproom is concerned.
I'll give it to him.
Yeah, for sure. So today we're going to be doing a beer out of Helton Brewing Company. This is a classic from Helton Brewing Company.
Yeah.
This is one of their core beers. It's called Boysenberry Sour. It is coming in at 6.7% ABV. It is a sour with boysenberry.
Which is interesting.
Very. First of all, Helton Brewing Company is a stone's throw away from King's Beer Wine. Actually, it's only a few miles from King's.
Oh, that's right. That's real close. Yeah.
It's very, very close to King's. Just a stone's throw away. And obviously, Helton is a really, really cool, not only person, but the brewery there itself is pretty damn amazing.
Yeah.
I think a very, very smart individual purchasing a very massive facility with the intent to distribute, which he just started doing not too long ago.
Yeah.
But he laid the framework for that many, 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 many years ago. So to see that actually come to fruition is a really cool thing.
Just a well-liked, well-respected dude in the beer community too. Brian Helton is like, I mean, you don't ever. I'm sure, Brian, there are times when you're in the back and you're not smiling, but every time you see him, he's got that big smile on his face. You know, It's hard to see through the beard these days, but you know, I'm sure that people have listened to multiple episodes of this show know that I'm a fan of Brian Helton. So that's no secret. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm just can art once again. I always get just blown away by can art and the can art that Helton started doing, because I remember early on. When he was canning, it was pretty basic labels, right, with his H on it. I think he even did a lot of bottling. But when he started canning and doing these wrapped cans, he brought on Corey Miller, Corey with a K, Kory. Dude does incredible stuff. Like this dude, the can art on this is, there's a skull with red blood river coming down. It's badass. Yeah. It really is.
It's really cool. I mean, and so basically all of the Helton beers, when you see them, they have a wrap on them, not a sticker. And so when you see them on the shelf, you'll immediately know it's a Helton beer.
And it's matte. It's got that matte. It's not matte, shiny. It's
right.
That's
and the really cool thing, I don't know if you realize that it has the H in the bloody so
in the bloody river.
In the bloody river. So, anyways, Boysenberry Sour. I don't know, what is a boysenberry?
I was just going to ask you that, because in the front it just looks like a raspberry.
Right.
But a boysenberry is probably just, a similar berry.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why they chose boysenberry to do a sour, but hey, whatever works.
Boysenberry? We're gonna find out.
Oh, he's gonna find out what a boy. Yeah, because I'm sure. Let's see. So we're at,
it's a cross between a European raspberry and a common blackberry.
So it's a raspberry and blackberry. So
and an American dewberry and a Loganberry. Oh man,
this now you just named two more berries. So we're gonna go down the rabbit hole where we're gonna have to keep asking the machine, okay, what the hell is a Loganberry? Okay, and it's gonna say another berry. We're gonna be like, okay, what is that berry? Yeah. So
it's a boysenberry. It's all it's all one of itself. Let's give the boysenberry.
I do like the raspberry and the blackberry combination. That I think that makes sense then. So we get boysenberry.
Yeah, I like it.
So definitely, and Helton is now doing distributing and has hooked up to do some distribution in Arizona, and it's everywhere.
It is. It's cool seeing that. It's cool to see some local sours, really, right? Highly or widely available, right? There's been a handful that have, my go-to is always the College Street. I recommend this beer all the time, and I can never remember the name. It's the Blueberry Sour, the Bordeaux or whatever it's called. It's College Street out of Lake Havasu. They do a Blueberry Sour that's available pretty much everywhere. That's fantastic. So it's cool to see another, there's a handful of other ones out there now, like Neonic, but it's cool to see some local sours on the shelves.
For sure. And this is one of their core beers, so you'll always see it. For sure. And this beer does come in what I'd call unfiltered. You call that like a reddish orange?
Yeah, like an orange. Yeah. I say it's a little bit, but it goes onto the side of red more than yellow.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I would say it's a reddish orange, and then actually the head on that does come in a little bit has a pink hue to it with tight compact bubbles. So it does look unfiltered as well. So it's not completely bright or clear. But
that's common with sours. Is that common with sours? Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, in a sour, you probably don't want to filter out the Brett or whatever sour you're using to sour it, because it strip the flavor from it.
What do they use for sours, right? Because that's I love sours, right? I love Jester King sours. I love spontaneous fermentation, and I want everybody to make them, but they can't, right? So what do people do instead? Because you can't make them because it'll infect the system, right? You got to be ridiculously thorough with your cleaning and systems to separate one from the other.
Sure.
So what do people do to be able to do this?
So we're Jester King and where we're at with Boysenberry are two completely different sours, right?
Okay.
So Jester King and say your traditional sours are actually all naturally inoculated by wild yeast.
Okay. Yep.
So they kind of are like yeast wrangler, or yeast wranglers for the most part.
Yeah.
They will go out, and bacteria wranglers. So there's the flora and the bacteria, whatever, in the building that they captured a long time ago, and they keep reusing and stuff like that. Put it in a barrel and let it naturally inoculate.
Yeah.
So and that a lot of times gives it, to me, is almost it's almost like a nail polish kind of a thing going on with them.
So do you not like them?
Oh, no. So
Okay.
what happens is that's your regularly barrel fermented, and we're talking, years in a barrel to get this fermentation and get this souring process naturally done. And then what they do is they blend their sours. So they'll blend from batch to batch and then get a certain flavor profile that they want. Sometimes they'll add fruit additions. A lot of times they won't. A lot of times they'll go with the base sour and just go with that. So the blending process does change that profile.
Okay.
You could tell a fresh sour that's never been blended when you do get like that really strong chemical kind of like nail polish kind of thing going. And
interesting.
You're just like,
okay.
But like Jester King's a whole different.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball game.
So the nail polish is if you jack it up, or is that?
It's not necessarily jacking it up. It's just not taking the time and effort to do your blending.
Okay.
A lot of these are like almost like wine or spirits. Where you're doing like a Solara kind of program where you're taking from batch to batch and then, reintroducing fresh wort into a sour to let it re-sour. You're not taking everything out of it. You're just taking a little bit from each batch and blending them, and then adding fresh wort into each one of them to let it keep going. Now, this one here, it would be we call it a Kettle Sour, where it is soured by introducing bacteria. Not sure what bacteria they use, but a lot of Brettanomyces is really popular.
Some people use yogurt, right?
Yeah, yogurt.
Store-bought yogurt.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, that's a really good. Bellies does have some really good bacteria in it that are perfect for kettle souring.
Okay.
I've used it quite a bit. Mango Good Bellies is the best thing to use.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally you get it up to like 100-degree temperature where that likes to live, where the bacteria likes to live, and will sour your beer.
Yeah.
And let it go for 24, 48 hours. Just keep checking the pH. You want your pH probably, if you're going to add a really sharp fruit, like say like a citrus or something like that, you probably want your pH around 3.5, 3.6, maybe 3.7. Sometimes you let it go really low, 3.2, 3.3, get real puckering kind of sour. And then you kind of just kill off you just heat it back up, boil it, kill off all the bacteria, and you could introduce hops at that time, just different things like that.
Excellent.
So anyway, it's long, drawn out.
That was good. That was more for my own personal, because I love sours and I want to learn more and more about them. So
let's get a dry-by aroma.
You don't get you don't get the tartness.
No. Yeah. No tartness.
Almost it seems like a ale, some sort of like a blonde ale. Or
it's like a clean. You definitely do get berry. I don't know if it's a specific berry though. To me, more raspberry than anything.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, more raspberry than anything, and it is, like you said, it's clean, but not necessarily you don't really get that Brett smell, like that sour, like kind of
with
smell
that blueberry sour from College Street. When you put that in a glass, you smell it like, oh, all right,
it's going to be sour.
Yeah, this is going to be sour. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely the aroma is really clean and fresh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very inviting. So get a taste on it. Oh yeah, cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
As he just downed the whole glass.
I get apple like right away. I don't know why. I get a taste of like a Granny Smith apple,
really?
But something maybe a little more of like a soury apple.
Interesting. Apple. To me,
it could be berry too.
To me, I get, for some reason, I get like Goza.
A little saltiness. Yeah. I can see that.
I get kind of like Goza character to it, like kind of like that salty, sharp sourness that it goes away pretty quick. So like to me, traditional sours kind of, are very complex.
Yeah.
And they kind of sit on your tongue, and you could kind of just pick out a bunch of different crazy flavors from them, and they're wild, and it's like your brain's just shooting off all these messages.
Yeah.
So kettle sours are traditionally kind of almost one note, where it hits you, it dries it out, and just goes away.
Yeah. That's a good explanation. Yeah.
So to me, that's what it is. It kind of has that like a little bit of that salty character to it, a little bit of a berry character, dries you out, and then gone.
Yeah.
So then what do you want to do after that happens?
I want to drink more.
You want to drink more. So damn you, Brian.
Wizard. He is the wizard.
Yeah.
The beard does mean something beyond the brewing.
So
it's really good.
Kettle sours are quick turns. So it's something they could do quickly.
How quickly? Like how long does it take from?
Anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, probably.
Okay.
You have to keep checking your pH.
Wait, what do you mean 24, 40 hours? Like you
to
brew
sour
a sour.
it.
So you brew a sour, and within 3 days you could release that beer?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, just to sour it.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, you make a wort. You make a wort, which is your pre beer, right? It's just your sweet
sugar water.
Yeah. So you make that, and then you get that around 100 degrees, and then introduce your bacteria to sour that beer.
Okay.
And keep checking pH levels. And then once that wort is soured, then you go ahead and start your beer making process.
Gotcha.
And then you go boil and add hops and do stuff like that. And then, obviously here, then he's adding, fruit, whether it's puree or whatever they're doing with it nowadays, to the back end after it's done. So
nice. It's really good, man.
Solid beer. I mean, I've had this beer on and off for a long time. I don't know, probably the past 4 years he's been? Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
So,
because he didn't have a sour for a while. He didn't have it for a couple of years. Yeah.
So was this an introduction of who brought this beer in?
What do you mean?
Like who was head brewer?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Rob was at the time.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. I think Rob. So then we're talking about like a chef.
A chef. Yeah. Good point.
So, you kind of, that sours are like perfect for chefs. I mean, it's like just introducing fruit, and introducing different flavors into beer.
Yeah.
But
makes sense.
Definitely a clean, crisp sour. If you're into sours, this is a great starter sour for you.
Easy to find. I always recommend trying it at the taproom itself, experience and, just what's really cool about Helton is, getting to kind of peek behind the curtain a little bit. He would take us in the back and show us those serving tanks.
Yeah.
Right. So he's got the tanks that the beer comes a direct draw from these tanks, and these lines are 3 foot to maybe 5 foot long.
Yeah.
So it's it's like the freshest you can get in beer. So I recommend going to the tap room. But King's Beer and Wine has it. I mean, it's everywhere. You see it everywhere. You see it at Sprouts. I see it at Fry's. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So
and like you said, it's a great point. Go to the tap room, and of course, Brian will probably be sitting across from you having some beer.
Yeah.
And so you can always go pick his brain. But for sure, really cool dude. Yep. I haven't been over there in quite a while, so I'm going to have to make my way back out to Helton. Yeah. And if you're ever in the area, come down to King's, have a couple beers, go over to Helton, have a couple more, have some food.
Take some stuff with you for home.
For sure.
and tell King's Beer and Wine that you heard about them from the show, and they'll give you a Arizona Beer Book class.
Ooh.
Boom.
Yeah, so that's a sweet gig. We're trying to, just to see who's watching the shows, trying to throw some support our way, throw it King's way. You down to King's, pick up some beers, of course, and then just let them know, hey, watching the show and enjoying the reviews, and you'll get yourself a glass.
Boom.
So
nice. Love it. We didn't grade this thing.
Let's do it.
9. It's a 9 for me.
Yeah, I would say, I'd go 8.9.
Now, so we're grading against Kettle Sours.
Other Kettle Sours, right.
Okay.
Right, we definitely, this is a different category. Would not want to, you don't, obviously not against a traditional sour. So just Kettle Sours. Yeah, definitely I would go 8.9 on it for sure. Clean, refreshing. Yeah, just easy drinking sour.
I've found too, so this is a little pointer for you, is if you have friends that say they don't like beer, and you have some friends that like wine, this sours I have found even more Kettle Sours than I've taken people like a Jester King or a Wilderness, and they're like, I don't like beer, and I'm like, hey, try this, and they're like, it's okay, it's not bad, and then I give them a Kettle Sour, they're like, holy shit, this is great. So if you have a friend that's a wine drinker, it's more reds, right? I think it's more, it's less sweet, and it's, like a red that's more of that, but you'll impress some people by introducing them some Kettle Sours.
The gateway beer.
It is the true gateway beer, right?
For sure.
Yeah, people have been, trying to blame it on Pilsners and lagers, man, and this sours sneak in the back door, Awesome, buddy. Hey, always fun doing this. Cheers to King's Beer and Wine. Cheers to my man, Marcus Pina. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.
Well, I don't remember names, but remember faces. Tried their best just to replace us, boy. Don't even have